Greetings, humans. I'm Andre.
And I'm George.
And this is Couscous.
And welcome back to the Windmill Full of Corpses.
And you all should buy this album, no matter the cost.
Yes, and you all should watch all our reactions from it, no matter the cost. And all of us should listen to all of the album, no matter the cost. And I mean literally the cost, because man, it takes its toll on you. 7 reactions in, we've done them all in one sitting, all the ones that aren't with music videos. So it's kind of exhausting.
It is the end.
It is the end, indeed.
I mean, it's not the end because the end is Imperium Delirium, which we already reacted, but it's the last song we're doing from this album.
Yes.
I mean, no.
I feel like the answer to the question, was it all worth it, is the same as the answer to the question, are you ready?
I mean, no. No. I'm sorry, that was automated behavior.
Yes, it was.
I think this is the most typical disjointed breakdown ending, the most typical deathcore disjointed breakdown ending that I've heard in a Shadow of Intent song, and it's nowhere near as typical as most of them.
Huh. So you feel like this is as close as they've gotten to the Hellfire by Lorna Shore?
I think I'm looking at Into the Earth more.
Into the Earth is basically to the Hellfire by Lorna Shore discount.
No, it's got more disjointed stuff. It's less just slow down, and it's more like shifting the pace and adding these like chugs and shit.
This one obviously points at like the unwillingness to stop once you've been on the grind with war for a very long time.
Which reminds me of that line from, I don't remember which earlier song it was, where it was talking about pride and misplaced malice. Because pride is the reason why you don't want to stop once you started.
I think it was in The Facets of Propaganda.
Yeah.
I feel like this album is so exhausting that I don't have what it takes to properly process the songs anymore. So it's good that we're at the last one. I do feel like it was a bit more of a typical song. I love the intro. I felt like the orchestra in that one, the orchestra all through the album has sounded evil and eerie and fear-inducing.
Yeah.
And at that point, I felt like it was a bit more melancholic.
Yeah, but there was also something a bit more synthy and electronic to that opening line.
Yes,
I know anything on the album.
I noticed that too. That actually got me thinking of Tesseract a little bit. But why I was pointing that out is because of that feeling, it kind of goes on with the topic of, you're weak from all this war, and yet you build back up and keep going, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't admit it wasn't worth the cost.
Yeah.
It feels conclusive. It feels a bit conclusive, yeah.
But it isn't.
Yeah.
So it feels like the song that a band would play on stage before the encore.
Yeah, and
then they come back for Imperium Delirium. That's kind of what it is. Because the whole album is a bit like a play, and this feels like it's just zooming out on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you would think that's the end, but then you get Imperium Delirium, and then that one zooms back in on what we know is the conclusion, actually. You are now fucked. Exactly. So we are now fucked.
Okay, do we want to give some album impressions?
Yes. First thought that comes to mind is this is a very coherent continuation to Elegy.
Yes. And I like the fact that they were able to sort of double down on a very heavy topic.
Yeah.
I like that they're able to treat such heavy topics and not become unpopular.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if that's just great PR, but it definitely just the fact that the music is so good speaks so well of their quality as musicians.
Yeah.
Compared to previous stuff, I feel like it's probably... The earlier stuff was more chaotic. I feel like this is as chaotic as like Primordial, right? But it has the coherence and it comes together as beautifully as Elegy.
Yeah.
So it's a weird in between of those directions for the band, because it's a lot more chaotic than Elegy. I'd argue it's quite a lot more chaotic than Melancholy too.
Yeah.
Those took a step away from chaos to intuitive compared to the first two stuff. This one goes back to chaos, but I feel like it keeps that flow very effortless.
And the sound is a lot more like integrated as a whole compared to what you had on the first two albums as well.
Yes, they are
more hard-hitting.
They are keeping the tilt towards death metal accelerated, so I feel like it's a bit further away from deathcore and a bit closer to death metal even than Elegy.
Yeah.
But still has the chaotic nature that the very deathcore sounding processed mechanical sound of the early albums had.
That's the other thing for me. I feel like it's as chaotic, but I don't feel like it's chaotic in the same way. Those felt chaotic in this like super fast, almost cartoonish way. Mm-hmm. This feels very expressively chaotic, very dramatic.
Yes.
And it feels more like it's drawing from slamming elements and things like that when it starts ripping apart rhythms.
Yes.
Rather than, I don't know, whatever the hell was going on the first albums. Tech death.
Yeah. I feel like we can definitely give a massive shout out to Bryce again.
Yes.
I feel like I have to Google the bassist's name because he hasn't gotten a shout out through this entire string of reactions. So now I'm going to do that.
We're on Metal Archives, bro.
Fair enough.
Click members.
Click members. Andrewmonious. Good job. We know you exist, even
Yes.
though we didn't say anything about you because we're terrible people.
We liked your bass solo. That was possibly not a bass solo, but maybe a civilian casualty in the instrumental song.
Yes.
You gotta watch that reaction to know what the fuck I'm on about.
Yes. And on top of it all, beyond a shadow of a doubt and beyond the shadow of intent, the one thing to remember, it's green.
Are we done here?
No.
So if you enjoyed this reaction, we greatly appreciate the likes and shares. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe with bells on.
Thank you very much for stopping by. We hope you enjoy your stay, and we'd love to see you back at the Windmill very soon.
Bang!